Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cinema Summit and Sudbury, for having us. Yeah, we're Lakeside Animation. As Devin mentioned, we've got a studio in North Bay, and some of us are working from different parts of Canada and even around the world. We've got plenty of collaborators, and I'm super stoked that a bunch of our crew are here in the audience today, Lakeside crew, and even one of our voice talent, Joel over there. Calling you out, shout out. Yeah, so, what do you guys want to know? Just I will, I guess, do a little super brief overview of Lakeside and our origin stories, and then why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves, I suppose. Lakeside was opened in around 2020, a bit of a pandemic baby. Took us a little while to find some footing, finding a brick and mortar building in North Bay, but meanwhile we had a couple of projects that our boss had brought to us with our foreign collaborators in different parts of the world, and we had a feature film, a 2D animated feature film that we're almost done now, 4 years later. And a couple of TV projects as well, and we've crewed up with a 100% remote crew because it took us a while to get our building, and even now we're still pre-reno. So we've been operating as a fully remote crew for the last 4 years, which has its own inherent challenges, which we can also talk about. And yeah, it's been part of our mandate to try to find business in the north and to facilitate arts and entertainment business and animation business in the north, so that all the talent here has an opportunity to, another studio to land in, instead of, flocking away to Montreal, Vancouver, Toronto, where all the other industry houses are. So we're happy to have, started Lakeside to have a footing in the north, and we're excited for all the new projects to come as well. That's a little briefing there. Go on.
Thank you, Courtney. Hi, everyone. My name's Matt Lyon. I am the Chief Creative Officer at Lakeside Animation. I am a classically trained animator. I went to Sheridan College, graduated in 2000, back in 2001, and the past 23 years have worked all over Toronto, all over Southern Ontario, working on a bunch of shows that maybe some of you guys grew up on, or maybe your kids watch. I was on Bubble Guppies and Backyardigans and Total Drama Island, Erky Berkey, and a bunch of other silly cartoons. I'm sure I see kind of like, what? That sounds terrible. But anyway, so I had a wonderful experience working in television, mostly doing animation. Eventually, and design, lots of drawing, lots of that sort of stuff, and then I eventually sort of worked through a couple different studios and worked through the ranks until eventually I started leading and supervising, and then eventually directing, and then eventually pitching my own 3D feature film in 2014 to some eccentric Italian producers who, quite literally, I sat down and the guy's like, okay, pitch a movie to me, go. And this
classic napkin pitch, true story.
And this is one of the reasons I always tell everyone, if you're not a struggling, but if you're an artist at any point, always have a sketchbook with you. Because that sketchbook, I happen to have a couple drawings of a walrus that eventually, that the producer was like, yes, I like him very much. Okay, you go, you make a movie. And 4 years later, John Cleese was voicing the walrus, and Jeremy Renner was the fox, and Heidi Klum was the otter, and she just will not stop calling me. It's really annoying. No. Anyway, so we had a wonderful time, and Courtney was a producer on that film, and we met and really realized our collaboration was extremely powerful. And then the Italian studio shut down, and I met another eccentric person, this time from Eastern Europe. He came over and he's like, yes, now I want to start animation studio in the north. And so we're like, game on, let's do this. And we've had...
Same thing, but...
yeah, except this time we're going to do it right. And so we've been having an incredible time. The past 4 years, we have a great series on Amazon Prime right now called The Red Iron Road. This is
featuring the T-shirt.
There's the T-shirt here. Shameless pitch.
Check it out.
Yeah, but please do check it. It's really great. We did it's 6 episodes, each directed by a different person, done in a different animation style. We wanted to hit the ground running, and done with virtually the same team. A lot of which are in this room, or some of which are in this room right now. That means that if you guys want to see the kind of quality that has been done in the north, that can be produced, take a look at Red Iron Road, and I challenge you to find another Western feature, horror animated feature that even comes close to the kind of quality that we were able to do thanks to the community, thanks to the schools, thanks to the staff, and thanks to the people here in the North. So looking forward to doing a lot more of that stuff, and thank you all for coming today and hearing us talk.
If you get the chance to talk to Matt about the Italian story, please go up to him and ask him. It's like it's well worth it. You know, what Matt just said about what's being produced here in Northern Ontario is 100% accurate. I ran a studio called Look Mom Productions for the past decade. I recently left to start a new studio with these grander ambitions to work with Lakeside out of Northern Ontario. And the one thing I realized with Lakeside very early on with working with them through Look Mom was they were producing some of the best 2D animation in the country. And what's so cool about it is, and this is where I see the shift happening in the business, is things are moving back toward classical animation. If you think back to the old days of Disney where everything was done frame by frame, but integrating technology and doing things in a more artistic and sophisticated way, and getting away from what we kind of know as more of the puppety style of shows. And I think it's a really interesting opportunity to do something that is fresh, specific, but also create an industry here around a particular style of doing things and being known for not just, you know, getting stuff done quickly, churning stuff out, getting it out the door, but producing high quality stuff that is going to punch through in a world where we are dealing with AI, we are dealing with changes, but having that, you know, sophisticated quality, that human element to it is going to be so important. So just to quickly get back to a little bit about who I am, I'm a producer, a writer. I produced a show called Gary and His Demons, which is on Amazon, 2 seasons of that. 2 seasons of a show called Doomlands, which is now airing on Roku, and did a show, an anthology series for Adult Swim here in Canada called Night Sweats. So that's been kind of the DNA of my career, focusing on adult animation. I'm going to pass over to Pasha here in a second, but what I want to say is our ambitions to do 10 adult animated shows over the next 5 years out of Northern Ontario is one where we are recognizing that the broadcast model is changing. Broadcasters are no longer spending the money the way that they used to, and recognizing the importance of private equity, partnerships with various funds, and those sorts of things to build not a business based on one project, but a business based on a sustainable model over a long period of time. We just announced our 3rd of 10 shows. We're 6 months into business together, and we literally announced that yesterday, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but I'm going to pass over to the wonderful Pasha.
Yeah, my name is Pavel Dubar. I'm 14 years in a industry working in animation, and last 10 years I'm just organizing remote pipeline for a studio and I think we're doing it successfully with there a lot of animators, and most of our projects sometimes we work around 200 or 300 animators and artists around the world, including all part of the country which you can imagine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. Pasha's a IT king here at least Lakeside.
Everybody's saying thank God. At least one of them's concise.
But to that point, I do have to say the man is being incredibly humble. His the work that Pasha has done has generated over 50 million views on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you see, yeah.
Yeah, there's a good variety of stuff. I mean, we touched a little bit on Red Iron Road and our team that has done that both here in Ontario and remote as well around the world. And yeah, some of the artists that Pasha's brought to Lakeside is fully like a remote studio of mostly European artists that everywhere from Bali to Finland and all over the place that we have kind of already had connected previously working for a different art studio that has kind of joined forces with Lakeside. So yeah, a lot of our Red Iron Road stuff and a lot of our other co-productions as well is a combination of people who who are here in Ontario, North Bay, and Sudbury, and Toronto, and Canada, as well as a foreign team of classically trained animators and with various different skill sets, as well as rigged, working on feature films, we're working on TV shows, a whole bunch of different options. So part of the interesting thing about Lakeside is that we do, like, a lot of the work that we do are co-productions, and so we actually have not just like fully Canadian work, but artists who are participating in these projects from all over the world. So we think that's pretty unique as well.
Yeah, we're always looking for opportunities to work with really good people. I guess that's one of the reasons that we moved up north, and we've worked very, very intimately with a lot of the schools that are up here. I've been teaching at Centennial College in Toronto for 20 some odd years now, and I'm on the PAC at Cambrian. We've got some instructors there that are our full-time staff and our part-time staff that gives us this fantastic perspective into these emerging talents that are coming out, the rock stars that are in these classes. These are the people that we want to facilitate opportunities to. And so we have a fantastic internship program at Lakeside. So if there's anyone who knows anyone who wants to get into the industry and is struggling with their portfolio or struggling with what kind of questions they need to ask, what kind of skills they need to develop, moving into this strange new world of AI and now this renaissance of 2D that Josh is talking about, which certainly makes me happy because I always go back to the idea that we've lost a lot of craftsmanship in many industries globally, musically, especially in the arts. And going back to traditional drawing skills, traditional stuff, like I said, it's that sketch. Had I not had that sketchbook, 8 years ago with me, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys right now. Like, it is, I cannot stress how important it is to really focus on that base level of education. And that's the number one thing I would say moving forward that we are looking for in people that we want to work with.
Yeah, being able to, it really is that simple. Being able to draw is the biggest thing. And, bringing people into the studio that haven't necessarily worked in the studio pipeline, I think learning software is something that we're more than happy to help people learn. If you've got the skills, I think oftentimes we focus on the technology now and not on the root of what the real talent is, which is the drawing. And I think part of that's because we've seen so many shows now over the last number of years that have just been, as we say, puppety, moving bits around. So, I think in that sense, that is definitely what we're looking for, I think, with what we do out of Northern Ontario. And I think one of the cool things, too, is, like, we talk about this international pipeline that's been created. It's also so cool to see talent that's here, then working with the talent from Finland and working with the talent from Malaysia. And we talked about this yesterday, like, there's differences in sensibilities that come from different parts of the world. And seeing those sensibilities, like, merge together is only creating better art and different opportunities to see things play out in a different way. So I think this idea of, yes, we want to center our stuff in the north, but also have a footprint beyond that, it helps it be more expansive and, frankly, create something that's a little bit more interesting in terms of just fresh styles, fresh feels, those sorts of things.
Yeah, actually, that's a really, really good point. One of the episodes of Red Iron Road, which I'm suspiciously mentioning over and over again, the one I had the honor and pleasure to co-direct, it's called Number 8 Reporting. We shot it at Canadore in North Bay. We did all the green screen. We had the actors. We brought them in, and we did it phenomenal. Like, it was a crazy experience, live action. And then we took the live action footage and we shipped it to Ukraine, where we have an incredible team there, and they traced everything over in an animation technique called rotoscoping. You guys may have heard of that or seen it in Waking Life and a couple other cartoons. And so it creates an eerie, very, very unsettling, but still at the same time incredibly effective look. But the collaboration that was going on, especially at that time, we shot this in October of 2021, and they were animating it in March of 2022, right? And the amount of bravery and the amount they never missed a deadline, and they were in Kharkiv. They were in the middle of war, and this team never did, just elevated the project, never complained, made us really realize that there's a lot more going on here, and gave us a completely international perspective on what this project could actually mean for the individuals. Like it's what Josh was saying. You have no idea the kind of things that are going to be born from these relationships that we create globally, and these opportunities and these perspectives. So that film, when I watch it now, I don't just see it for, oh, cool cartoons and everything. I see this as something like, oh my God, like we made something incredibly special here with some incredibly special people that humbled me every single time I engage with them.
For some of those artists, I think it was pretty personal as well, because not only were they, in such distress, but they also kind of, as funny as it sounds, wanted to work and wanted something to focus on during that time to, help just digest everything that was going on around them. So I think they had a couple of days where we weren't sure if we were going to hear from them again or not. And then there we go, delivered scenes. Like, oh, wow, really? Okay, you're busy, right?
It's hard to complain. It's hard to complain in Canada, like, oh, my bus is late. It's like, I not anymore, I don't.
Yeah, and I think, with just thinking about, because this is obviously a panel about animation in the North, like what is thinking about the broader vision here? Obviously, we led off here talking about doing 10 projects out of Northern Ontario. And what does that mean for the people that are working here? And I think when we look at the vision for this over the next 5 years, we're looking at a $45 million slate. So it's a substantial amount of money. We're looking at bringing people here to not only hiring people within the community, people that are going to schools, what have you, but also bringing people into the communities to actually live here, building a business long term.
Mentorship as well.
Yeah, it's not about, as I said, one project at a time. It's about knowing that we've got a pipeline to fill for the next 5 years that can hopefully scale into something bigger over the next decade, couple decades, what have you. We also know that we want to do this in a smart way. 50 sounds like a lot. It's actually probably for this appropriate and relatively small. But making sure that you have the right people, you build the right infrastructure, and that's already happening with a lot of the folks that are already working here. But building that so that there is that opportunity to have people actually live in these communities, becoming part of these communities, and doing something that's a little bit more holistic than just being one project at a time.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
And it's all adult animated comedy, this stuff. So
I know we are. Yeah, we are trying very hard to pigeonhole ourselves into the adult realm of comedy, adult drama.
Pigeonhole.
Pigeonhole. And with our horror anthology series as well, that's obviously very adult-oriented content. But yeah, of course, as we do develop originals as well at Lakeside, and we do have a development and sales team that goes around to all the conferences to pitch our original slate. And of course, we do have projects that we're developing for kids and youth and family as well, because you kind of have to have something for everybody and when you're pitching at markets. So yeah, we're working hard on that, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think from my perspective, obviously, we've formed this partnership, and so Lakeside obviously does kids stuff as well. I will not touch kids content. That's one rule I've made for myself throughout my career, and mainly because there really is, beyond Lakeside and Cutting Class, there is no other company in this country producing adult animated comedy originals or originals in the space. So another thing, when you say to yourself, okay, well, there's a couple of pillars that we're looking at here for what's going to make us really stand out in terms of working up here. One is going to be the classical animation and making sure that we're really promoting an industry and a workforce that can draw. And the second part is becoming specialists in a genre that, frankly, no one else in this country is doing or is capable of at this point. And to me, that's where the real appeal is. It's not just trying to do what's already been done over and over again. The kids space, nothing to take away from it. It's a great space. It's tired. It's unfortunately a little bit of, for lack of a better way of putting it, a little bit of an old boys club. And when you're focused on creating stuff for adults, there is a certain bar that you have to be able to hit. There's a certain expectation in terms of quality that, and it's not to say that creating kids stuff is easy. I'm not saying that at all. But it's different. The game is different. And so bring those two things together, classically trained talent, plus knowing that we're working in a very, very specific genre, that's going to be the thing that separates what we're doing here and creating an industry that potentially could be very interesting and different from what has existed in the past.
And what's really hard to replicate or repeat with AI, how I guess. And in my opinion, according to previous speakers, that true artists never will be replaced by AI, because it's really hard to do. Mostly it will be a really powerful tool for all of us. And it will definitely significantly change the industry. And but in the right hands, yeah, it will be really helpful. Yeah.
And the industry, whether we like it or not, the industry is going to shrink here to some degree. There is going to be a change in the way that the job market is with AI and these things, but we can circumvent some of those things by really becoming, craftsmen in the areas that we need to be craftsmen. But I think what it's also going to mean is, with all this technology coming into play, the people that are at the top of their game are only going to do better because they're going to have access to the tools, they're going to be functioning at a higher level, and it's going to weed out some of the people that maybe don't have the skill set, or force them to actually up their skills, which I think overall from an art perspective is going to be a net benefit to all of us.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of our mandates from the start, or even at prior companies where Matt and myself and Josh and Pasha have all worked, to really invest in artists and invest in talent and invest in the people that are really doing amazing, unique, and creative things, and noticing that and celebrating that.
And in the animation community, AI is still a boogeyman. If you're like, I proudly use AI in my portfolio and this is an artist who I am, that's a lot of chutzpah. It's like, wow. Because I use AI. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's all about, look, if you're afraid of it, that's like saying, I'm afraid of television when the radio came out. I'm afraid of those cars. I'll stick to my horse and carriage. You're going to get passed by in the times, because what people also forget is, guess what? We didn't go to school learning AI. We're now, as 40-year-olds, going sort of looking at technology and shaking the computer and trying to make it work. But 18, 19, 20-year-olds now are learning AI in school. All right, they're coming into the industry without this, well, I'm not going to use that because I'm better than this. That's just the wrong attitude to have. But at the same time, it's the wrong attitude to have just saying, well, AI, I don't need anything else besides, I just type in prompts and I'm good. It's like, no, my friend, that's not going to work. Now it's going to continually be better. The blades of those tools in the AI toolkit are going to get sharper and sharper and laser pointed, but it's all about the hand that holds the scalpel. It's not about the sharpness of the blade itself.
God, I love your analogies.
It's like animation before everyone draw on a paper. And we use pencils. We draw a 24 pictures, or 16 pictures, and to have a 1 second of animation. Right now, everyone use computers for it. And I guess AI, it's just the same thing. We are if art is in an artist's hand, it will be really powerful to I know dummy hands. It probably it's nice, it's good, but it's really everyone doing some.
You will stand out.
Card. Yeah.
You'll stand out more with a traditional portfolio now without AI, especially if it's really, really good and it harkens back to basic fundamentals, perspective drawing, anatomy, basic color theory. These are things that people don't understand are the foundation of everything that we look at. There's an old saying, there are no accidents in animation. Right? Because by the time it gets on screen, the amount of redos and fixes and little tiny, it's not like live action where, something happens, there's an actor will knock over something by accident and boom, that's actually the authenticity they need for that Oscar performance. Everything in animation is contrived. So how do you get originality and real art out of that in an environment like that?
Well, so you bring something interesting up that I just want to speak to because it gets me excited about life. When we do our voice records, especially on the comedy side now, everything's done ensemble. So we get all the talent together. So much like live action, okay, it's human. You're one human working off of another human. You're reacting. So we do the same thing in the booth. So we get the overlapping dialogue. We get that real organic feeling thing. So a lot of the times, like the jokes that we wrote, they're actually like, if you read the scripts, you'd be like, this is god awful. Like they're not jokes. Like they're just, it's all in the delivery. It's all in just letting the comedians play. And so in terms of just where the actual rawness in terms of what we do comes into play, I would say the radio plays have been historically, at least for the way we've done it, been where that happens.
And what is the modern radio play? We call it a podcast. It's true. And guess what? We're animating podcasts, you know? And this is one of the things. The boss said, okay, you know, my wife, she really likes this podcast. We should call them up. And, you know, it turns out this is the biggest comedy history podcast in the world. These remarkably famous stand-up comedians down in LA. You guys ever heard of The Dollop? Big podcast crew here, yeah, I can tell. Like, seriously, like, an absolutely hilarious podcast. They've got 12 years. Now, last year, you guys may remember, there was a writer's strike. There's all these strikes and stuff happening. And so we're like, well, we can't talk to writers. We can't create anything new. Let's talk to some people that already have a whole, like, 700 hours of recorded content. That's freaking hilarious. And so we talked to them, and we're like, hey, can we draw you? Like,
yeah, sure, Lakeside.
The conversations happen like this. We love their stuff, and they are top quality, incredible stuff. Now we don't have to worry about writing. We don't have to worry about this. We don't. It's done because it's authentic. Because you actually have people
On that show, Josh.
on that show. Don't worry. But if you can have something that has authenticity, that has we as humans, we're drawn to truth. And that isn't a pun with animation. That's terrible, sorry. I know, I deserve to groan. But that, like, these guys, when they speak, it's so easy to just draw what they say, and then we create something, and it looks real, and it's funny, and people watch it, and they're like, this doesn't feel like this was, you know, pooped out of an AI machine. This is as real as it absolutely gets. Another terrible analogy. I'm so sorry, guys.
You've just gone down a
I
notch.
know. See, he complimented my analogies, and then they just.
And one small addition to that, just to bring it back to like animating in the north and stuff, like just on that particular one project on the Dollop, we've got one of our crews sitting right here, Miranda. She's, you know, came to Lakeside as a designer and had some aspirations to do some storyboarding. So this is one of the small projects where we were able to give an opportunity to like have Miranda participate in the storyboarding process and train her up on this.
Become a Canadian too, guys.
same
She's now from
time,
Texas.
hey.
PR right here, guys. All right,
So,
that's
like, that is,
three
like-
people that we've brought in from other countries that have gotten
Yeah.
their PR status through working with us.
Four,
And
actually, yeah.
Four,
Yeah, we've got a few.
all here in the north.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and that's one of those things that we're, you know, excited to celebrate and to, you know, find opportunities where we can to, you know, plunk people out of whatever they need to be doing to try to get them in the roles that they want to be doing and foster their talents and ambitions and stuff. So we're happy to, you know, be able to provide things like that to our artists.
And even though we don't need writers, I would be interested in seeing, you know, I think from my perspective, finding writers and talent beyond just the animation side, voice actors, that world of things would be really, really interesting to, and I know we're, to mine up here. I mean, I know we're in Sudbury there we go. You see what I did there? Yeah. It would be really good to find the talent because I just think there's probably some hidden gems that that would be great in this world. And I think, you know, I think oftentimes people think, well, I can't draw, so I can't be in animation. That's not the case. We all have our skill set. I can't draw, and somehow I ended up here, but started as a writer, producer. So I think it's just about finding your lane and then building, you know, the resources around you to complement your skill set.
Producing or even post. I also can't draw, so here I am, you know, in the production end of things. And, you know, even in North Bay, coming out of Canadore College, we've partnered with a couple of people that were also profs there who are basically our in-house post team as well. So there's always, you know, plenty of opportunities that are not, you know, drawing related in the animation business.
We do all our sound, we do all of our recording, like right over at Canadore, like an incredible,
Facilities are amazing.
world class. World class. That's I mean, the North gets a lot of help from the government to get hot. Like the schools are really, they're fantastic here in terms of the technology. So I mean, that's why we shot number 8 reporting at Canadore. We didn't do it at a soundstage down in Toronto. We did it at a place where literally the lighting system was so complex that I think only the students knew how to use it. Some of the that's not even a joke. It was really crazy.
I was being in those facilities. So I took radio and television arts at Ryerson, and at the time Ryerson had the state of the art. I went into Canadore. I was just like, what is happening? I was like a kid in a candy store. It was phenomenal.
Quite impressive. Yeah. Yeah, we have this
Check it
Atmos,
out if you haven't
we have
been.
this nice
Yeah,
Atmos
yeah.
suite for like 5.1 mixing, and it's just they have all this crazy tools, and we feel very special and lucky to have access to that sometimes when you need it. Yeah.
Maybe we should throw it to you guys for Q&A, unless you want us to blather on about ourselves anymore.
We can tell stories.
What about the Italian story?
We'll keep that till later until we're off camera. No.
Mike, yeah.
Hello, thank you. So my question is, in the world of animation and thinking about, I'm curious, your company, Lakeside, as well as people who might be applying to you or just in the industry in general, where do you feel that you have a surplus of people applying for certain positions, and where do you have more needs, and where are you lacking staff and talent in certain departments?
Okay, well, as far as it's a great question. I would say because the staff that we have right here, they're absolute rock stars. We've got one of probably the best layout, the best background designer in the North sitting right over here. We've got some of the most amazing character artists that we've ever seen. So it's really about the individual who's applying, right? The number one thing that we need from people who are applying with us is to tell us exactly what they want. In fact, that's my best advice to people that are applying for a job. Do not say, oh, I'm a generalist, I can do anything, I just want to work in animation, just give me a chance. No, I can't do anything with that. When I want a modeler, I go to the best modelers I know. When I need an animator, I go to the best animators I know. I don't find someone who can do the jack of all trades, the master of none is no good. So I would say don't even worry about what the studio wants, right? Know what you want. 100%. The more you want, the more that you can really crystallize your identity, the more I can understand how that's valuable to me and how I can use that skill set as a commodity on the market and really raise value for all involved.
Yeah, you really it's like anything. You want to buy into someone's vision. You want them to get you. It's your journey.
Yeah.
I want to buy into your journey. So.
I have a different answer. Production people. We get. I know Chantal and I know here. We're
Don't listen to the artist. Yeah, we
holding
need
down
people.
the
Come
fort
on.
here with like a 2-person production team on multiple projects. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So we get obviously tons of interest and tons of resumes from artists of all kinds. Very low on the production end. Not that we're even like. We have our solid team right now, and we've got a couple other people who are not on this panel as well helping us out. And when we have opportunities, we'll definitely let you all know. But that's something that I tend not to see as much. People who are super interested in getting into, even if it's not animation specifically, but anywhere in the film and television and production business with production skills, or who are interested in the budgeting and scheduling side of things and running the business and talking to funders, and depending on where you want to go in your career trajectory. I know not everybody might be gearing towards producing, for example, but there are several other, from production management, line producing, even working with the accountants on the money side. There's lots of different skills and streamlines of knowledge and skill sets that are required in animation production or any kind of film and TV production that don't have anything to do with the arts. So lots of backup in the back office. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, Mariah. Oh, okay. Is the mic coming to Mariah? Okay.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you guys so much for this awesome panel. And this is more so for you guys with Lakeside in the last 4 years, which is so crazy to me. You've done so much since starting this company. What do the next kind of 4 or 5 years look like for you in the landscape? I know there's shows to be developed, but is there anything you're really excited by or you're looking forward to do or hoping to expand in within the animation medium?
Yeah, for sure. This is actually where Josh and our partnership with Cutting Class is really going to flourish. This is a pretty new partnership that we're working on, and through Josh and through our collaborative efforts as well, we've attracted a couple of new projects. We've got a feature film that's in development and a couple of TV shows as well. And yeah, we're really fortunate to have this opportunity to kind of combine our resources with Josh and his partners and other people who also had fallen from Blue Ant or other people that they know in the industry. We're just kind of combining forces with ours to make sure that we can kind of have everything that we need to move those projects forward. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing more adult content, more feature films, and a couple more TV series. And yeah, you guys are working on some new stuff too, new development.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it was big vote of confidence. We just announced a feature that we're producing yesterday, but Titmouse partnered with us, and anybody that knows Titmouse are probably the biggest adult animation producer globally, which is a huge, huge, huge vote of confidence. So that's.
And they're based in Austin. Go Texas.
There we go Texas. So it's so we're very excited about that, and I think, I think the other thing that we're looking at is, obviously the industry's in a tough place. I think we all can see that, but in these tough times, I think, we've probably heard it. There's opportunity, and the opportunity now, I think, is the whole landscape is shifting. The more and more dollars are shifting away from the broadcasters. The world's coming back to being more of a producer, back to the way it traditionally was, a producer-driven model. And what that's going to mean for us Canadians, whether we like it or not, is we're going to have to take more risk. There aren't necessarily going to be the opportunities to make money on production. It's going to come from the sales that we make on our stuff. But the attitude is that if we can find we found a economical way to produce a number of shows on spec, essentially. Our attitude is that since the buyers aren't buying, how much shelf space is going to be available over the next number of years? Well, there's going to be a lot. And so if they can pick up a show from us to license for the next 5 years and only spend a couple $1 million versus spending $20 million on a commission that is going to take another 3 or 4 years to produce, it makes a lot of sense for them. And so that's where we're going to see, we think the shift in the landscape is going to come. We're taking the risk, but I think more Canadians are going to have to be accepting of the fact that there is going to be a certain amount of risk involved, and we are going to have to in some ways die on our sword in the sense of we have to believe in what we're making and truly believe that we can sell it, or else it's not worth doing.
It's applying creativity to things like financing plans and funding models and things like that, which are, it's an unfortunate place to be, but as Canadians, we're all kind of used to that.
and supporting all of that
Yeah.
with high quality art, with quality.
Well, and that's the amazing thing about, he's not here right now, but Yuri is very much of like, let's do this. Let's figure this out. He's got a bit of that crazy entrepreneur thing going on. And I think, with the group we've put together, we all have that collective vision, which is, I'll be honest, we're either going to do, this is going to be a huge, we know it's going to be a huge growth opportunity, but this is either going to be, I think, transformative in terms of what we're doing in animation, or it's going to be a complete bust. But going forward is so important, and we've all had the success in the past, and I'm hoping that we start to see a little bit more risk starting to come out of this country, and I think it will only do us well, being in these economically tough times, to hopefully see more Canadian producers take those risks.
Yeah, it's like sharing the space. Sometimes it means sharing copyright ownership in a project ultimately, or just finding, collaborators or people who have like another $5 from you, $5 from you, $5 from you. We pool our resources together, and obviously there's the funds and grants, and like someone like me, who've grown up in the Canadian media system, applying to grants for all kinds of projects. Like I'm like, we got to go to the Belt Fund, we got to go to Ontario Creates, we got to go to IPF, we got to go to CMF, and then also, but looking to partners like our boss Yuri and other like Josh's his partners as well. Like you got to kind of look outside of that Canadian scope as well, because it's especially for animation, because budgets do tend to climb quite high in animation. So having more partners is super important. It's very rare that you'd find any kind of animated TV show or movie, top to bottom, like one company plus one grant or 2 grants or just tax credits. Like there's so many, usually very many different partnerships that are required to come up with, whether it's $2 million or $5 million or $10 million for a film or something. There's a lot of different players that need to be involved. So.
And having equity partners that can actually render services helps mitigate some of that risk. And I think it's important to note too, like this movie that we're doing is all 100%. It's independently private equity finance. So I think that's it's just it shows it can
it's a
happen.
rarity. It's difficult to do, though. I guess something that everyone should know as well. If you're not already a filmmaker who's tried to get money for a project, it's very difficult to try to find private equity, especially in Canada. But yeah, if partners in the States, it's a lot more common there. So that's one of the places that we're looking. Or even in territories like Eastern Europe, has distribution. They have a thirst for English language content that we wouldn't normally think about that here in North America. But there are other markets out there where the stuff that we're making as Canadians can travel really far, and there's money to be found in different areas of the world too.
And don't think about partnerships necessarily as just being like, oh, well, I want to invest here. Maybe not everyone here is a financier. I don't know, but you could always connect with us in a different way. So provided that it is a way that is beneficial to you and beneficial to us. So, for example, because we're doing a lot of work with Canadore College over the past couple of years, they're always looking for the next, technological thing that's going to really help their students and look forwards. And of course, we're always looking to cut costs and find some fantastic ways to do sort of similar things. So a few years ago, we purchased a motion capture suit. So, the ones with the golf balls on them, we've all seen the DVD extras, even though we don't do DVD extras anymore. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. Canadore College also bought one, right? So now we all together as a team have access to 2 motion capture suits, which they cost a pretty penny. But the good thing is now we don't have to have one person pretending they're fighting a person who isn't there. Now we know whenever we're going to work on a project with this technology that we own, we're going to collaborate with another place here in the north, not just a studio, but a school. So we've got students. So you see how it's all about lateral thinking about how to add value to each other and walk away very, very happy and everyone benefiting. So think about opportunities like that.
Yeah, and if there's no shoot coming up, we got a pretty cool Halloween costume. That's what I coded it as at that expense. Halloween flop.
I guess, guys, my question is, from a lateral perspective and getting creative with diversifying, I guess, your revenues, one of the questions is not only for people that want to work for you, but maybe I feel like potentially you also have post services or other services that you'll offer other films or producers that are happening. So
yeah, we absolutely would do service production, post, or everything from script to screen, basically. And that's something that Matt coined for our website. From premise to pixel. Yeah, we've got departments and access to talent for screenwriting and developing your projects creatively for concept art from in original inception, helping people visualize their ideas to getting into pre-production. We would definitely offer design services or even anything from all the different departments, story services, and animation production, and all the way through post as well. So, yeah, absolutely, we're eager to happily to collaborate on service productions as well.
And we started to do like a post-production, I guess, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we have some resources. We've got Canadore. We've got a couple of guys in North Bay, and it's really And
guys, Pasha can do anything. If you need anything designed, you got a problem with your film, you need special effects, you need something, talk to the quiet man on the end. He's the dangerous guy.
We've also been doing dubbing
with that
as
3D
well.
printer.
Oh dear.
I have an online question.
Yeah, sure.
From Ezekiel, what kind of work would you want to see in a portfolio, especially for Lakeside Animation, and where can I apply?
You can apply at info@lakesideanimation.com, I believe is the best way to contact us. But it's just like we've been saying since the very beginning here. Strong fundamentals in drawing. That means anatomy, that means perspective, that means simple color theory. It also means understanding of narrative. All right? It's great if there is a drawing of a person sitting in a chair. It's much more interesting if that person is falling out of the chair and drawn maybe not as technically well, because at least there's something, right? Stories move us. The more I can see in someone's art that it is buttressed with a story, the more potential I see in them as an artist moving forward, because anyone can learn how to draw. It's just a matter of time. But storytelling, it's a very different skill set. Very, very different. Still can be
Variety of
learned.
styles too, probably. Like a variety of styles too, like because it's really important for an artist to be able to work on a project by whoever director, whatever art director created that vision and the concept that we're using for that particular show. Artists who can pivot, and a lot of artists do have a signature style, which is also to be revered and respected in their own way. But sometimes it's essential for working in a collaborative way, like on a big production, like a TV series that has 20, 30 artists in different various skill sets, being able to hone in on a certain director's style and creative preferences so that it looks coherent. Like you've seen credit lists on animated films before with pages and pages and pages of artists, but it still looks like Disney is Disney, or a certain director has their own look and feel for a certain project. So as an artist, being able to a little bit like depart from your own personal signature style and meld into what the director's vision is a really important thing for us to, I guess, have in our artist, right?
I have never hired someone because their personal style was great. It's like no. It's because the fundamentals that went into that personal style, I can see through that and say, oh, this person can literally draw everything because they're as good as they are. But if I hire someone just because they can only draw amazingly, but in that one style, then I'm locked into them. They're not as valuable to me as an employee.
Yeah, that's not to say they shouldn't have strengths. Like people do have their strengths in whatever their skill set is. Like if you're a layout artist, or if you're a concept artist, or if you're a painter and not so much a designer, there are people who have their strengths, and those are also very useful. So.
Absolutely.
Josh, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to say I've hired a lot of people based on their personal style. but that's because we were looking for like literally create the visual identity for the show. But if you're coming in and if you're coming in and providing work based on someone else's designs, that's more or less what you're talking about.
And I am speaking very much to newer people in the industry. All right? If you are already established in the industry, we'll come to you. If your style is that and I'm sure Josh is speaking about people that he reaches out to rather than rando, like, oh, I happen to be a genius. Here, check me out. Like, that happens less.
It's happened too.
It has, I'm sure. Hence less, not never, less.
Yeah, I guess like even looking at Red Iron Road, for example, like the episode Forest King by Lubomir Arsov as the director, he brought these styles, his creative style, his signature style to that show. And so all the artists that from Lakeside and from our foreign team as well had to adapt to his specific style. And sometimes it was challenging. Some people got it faster than others. And that's all great. That's all normal part of production work. But when you're looking at an episode like In the Heat, which is not part of our release season 1, it's still doing its festival circuit right now, but In the Heat, our director Sam Cho, he acquired designs, worked with Axel Maillot, a French character designer who had an incredibly signature style. So that was a little bit the opposite. So that, maybe about the same actually. So Axel's work, like it set the style for that particular episode. He has a really, the characters look really different from all the other episodes. He's really got a cool, unique style, and that was something that Sam really wanted us to execute as well. So it's a good example of where that originated from.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a perfect example, right?
Any other questions for Lakeside or for cutting class? Yeah, go ahead. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. How nice of you to remind us of that. I was absolutely humbled and honored to win the NOMFA, the Northern Ontario Music and Film Academy's lovely recognition of number 8 reporting, the film I've been speaking about this entire time. And a few weeks ago at the very, very awesome awards, I got a really cool glass crystal trophy that is sitting on my mantle at home right now that I tell my children not to touch because fingerprints really show up on that sucker. But yeah, it's that there was something so special about working in the North for 4 years and working with the communities and buying a building and bringing people to the North and doing as much as we can to just get into the community and be a part of it. And then build this and shoot this film in the North, and then be recognized by the very same community as, hey, you made us look good. That was very special.
So thank you, CION and the Gnome Fuzz, and all the, there's a few people in this room, I'm sure, who organized that. That's awesome. And yeah, Red Iron Road in general we're very proud, has been doing quite well on the festival circuit. Even just the other day at TO Webfest, one of the first episode, Vertilac, Family of Vertilac, also won the Best Animation Award, and we were happy to take that home. And yeah, really. Didn't you see my post? And Matt's been traveling between myself and Matt and Yuri and other Sam Cho, one of our great directors, and like so many people who are involved, like got to actually participate in person at different festivals, wherever we've had official selection content and where we've been nominated. And
we're going to the Austin Film Festival for.
Oh, you are. That's right. Oh, cool. Very
there you
cool.
go.
Yay! Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I think Red Iron Road has been in about 100 festivals now over the past 2 years since we started doing our festival circuit, and I think we've racked up, like, that must have been number 45 or number 45, so it's a pretty good ratio if you ask me. We're going to need a nice big award shelf in our new studio.
Thanks, everybody. I think that's the conclusion of questions. So I'll ask the team. Are there any challenges or things that would make the North better to do animation in that you can maybe share? And then also if there are any, future goals that you would like to share, that would be great.
Sure. Well, I mean, one of the biggest challenges, of course, being money and funding for the projects. Like, that's something that we're hitting up, some roadblocks on. So maybe having something like whichever funding body might want to develop a program specifically for animation, as we know that the Northern Ontario region, you see a lot of film production between, whether it's Timmins or North Bay or Sudbury. You've got lots of shoots coming up here from the States and from elsewhere in Canada, live action shoots primarily, and we know that animation hasn't been as popular in terms of the productions that are getting made. So that's another reason why we wanted to open Lakeside here and attract, more talent to have, animation production here. So having resources in funding and I guess different areas of the community that wanted to support that and put money and resources towards animated projects and specifically would be really, really awesome and helpful. Help us stick around.
Definitely on the school side, we've had wonderful engagements with the educational institutions up here, everything from high schools to colleges, but we'd love more. If they could integrate an actual credited work placement, like a co-op where it's an entire course and they get credit for that. We've done that at Centennial. It's an unpaid internship, but they do 290 hours where they're literally like cleaning up my drawings or cleaning up Mike's drawings or something. And if you want to draw better, trace a better artist. And so that opportunity is the best possible thing. It gives us a fantastic opportunity to see, okay, these are the people that we want to work with. We can, steer them in the right direction. And it gives the school a fantastic portfolio. It's just really hard to move things and change curriculum because, the government has to approve all this stuff. So that's something that I would love to see because the talent here in the North is insane, and we want it all. So.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I guess final thoughts, or you can wrap up, Courtney.
Of course. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having us, CION and Cinema Summit and Cinefest Sudbury. Thank you so much.